Hi, this is Ken Mary from Flotsam and Jetsam, and you're watching CMS TV. Don't miss it.
I can't resist, can't remember the sound of my wheels hitting the road. No need to be sentimental. I'm a 10-ton bus and I'm ready to roar.
Fantastic stuff, man. And we got to welcome Tony to the show. Good afternoon.
What is up? Can you guys hear me?
Brother.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fine.
We got
Oh,
you.
good. All right, cool.
Good.
Cool.
Well,
It's good. Glad to be here, man.
It's great to talk to you, man. And dude, Shadow and the Thrill. Not gonna lie, I really didn't know anything about it until your publicist banged it into my head. But what a great bluesy rock thing you're doing, man. Fantastic.
Yeah. We're. I'm surprised that was the track you guys had access to, but yeah. It's definitely down that road, right? Like blues oriented, or
Sure.
even at some point, even almost our little taste of R&B as well. So but still, it's a rock band. Play guitar and having fun doing that. So
Right on,
Yeah.
man. Well, why don't you give us a background on this band, man, on Shadow and the Thrill? Unless I'm crazy, this started around the pandemic time, yes?
yeah, we released just at the top of the pandemic, 2020, the first album. And speaking of being crazy, the first song that we did release is our cover of, it's a blues cover of Gnarls Barkley's
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
So we're it's it was a good time to be at home and watch things on YouTube, and and it was a shitty time too. Actually, I had a pretty nasty accident at the back end of 2020 that laid me up for almost a year.
Oof.
But there was no gigs, there was nothing else to do but lay on my back and heal. So the album did what it did, and then we just started getting out. As soon as everybody started playing again, I started going out with Jack and playing those shows, and started doing some Shadow and the Thrill shows, and just got busy, got down to business.
Right on. Well, dude, with Shadow and the Thrill, obviously it's a very different time, musically, and the industry, what's left of the industry
Right.
is shredded.
Right.
How does a guy like you, now you obviously have, you have some name recognition to you, and you obviously were in Great White in the biggest period of Great White, really, with Hooked and Twice Shy and, that era. Is that enough to launch a new band and get interested in a new band, or do you feel like you're back in the clubs fighting for every listener again?
Oh, it's absolutely that. And there are pros and cons, right, to this era, and that is that I can put out whatever I want whenever I want, and that's good. Not having the institutional support of record labels and that kind of thing is that makes it rough. But you have to hope that the cream rises to the top, and I'm making sure that whatever we put out is really top notch, and work with top notch people, and hopefully the songs are good. And so far everybody seems to be liking everything that we've done, and the new single Bleeding Out is getting a little traction here and there. So
Right on.
Yeah,
and we will play that to end the interview.
Well,
It's not that we didn't get it. I just wanted to hold it to leave people once you decide to leave, then yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Now, speaking of times being different, do you want to punch the creator of Spotify like right in the fucking throat because they're taking away what you guys do for a living, really, which is trying to sell records and make music like that?
Well, that started so far back. I mean, as far as Napster, right? Like, really, that was it. That was the end, man. We were all just, dinosaurs looking up at the asteroid coming down. And,
right.
If again, like, there's still pros and cons, I guess, I've had, we've had listeners on Spotify, and that's been good. I don't like the comment he made recently, right? Like, that content is so easy to, calling it all content. It's like,
that's a guy that never woke up at 3 a.m. with a riff and stayed up 2 days to write it out.
Right. That is what it is really all about. And now, I'm involved with other technology companies, and I'm involved with my own company called Venue, and we're at the forefront of a lot of these things that are happening right now, and metaverse and AI, and all these things of all this news of AI creating music, and it just makes you go, well, we're going to be as real as possible, right? And we're going to go out and play. So I think that's the next push, is that, if you want to see real human beings trying to communicate and play that riff that I heard at 3 a.m. and tried to make real, then come on out. And that's the only place you're going to get that kind of visceral, communal experience anymore. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get out there and play.
I'm an old school guy, I guess. I like having something physical in my hands. I have Spotify because I feel like I have to have Spotify if I want to hear stuff. But I like going to the record store and buying a CD or an album and putting it in the car and being able to listen to it. Now it's just not the same to me. And musicians, you guys got to be frustrated with the way things are going. I don't know. The AI stuff is crazy too.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some different things, and it's a little disturbing and still not very good in my eyes. But the generation of that's coming up now, I don't know if they really look at music as the way we did, in that we would buy a record or a CD or whatever and listen to it all the way through and read the liner notes and all that stuff. It's more background, I think, to them, and it doesn't matter if it's created by a computer. It's just noise, right? Noise that they can take their selfies by. So I don't know, man. I mean, I have 2 sons that are just a little bit older than that, and so I've watched them grow up and watch them adopt music into their life, right? So what's interesting to me is that a lot of them like vinyl. Sure. And vinyl, I didn't even have a turntable when they sent me, the label sent me my last album, Sugar Bowl. They sent me a test pressing, and I was like, oh, great. Look at this. This is interesting, this black thing. I didn't even have a turntable. And then I finally got one, and what a revelation, It's such a different world to listen to an analog recording on, well, it's actually a digital recording, but at least it's on analog. Right. And you can hear, I heard things on my own album that I didn't remember doing. So vinyl, I think, is still, it's going to be around for a little bit, and it's, we'll do this next, bunch of songs. We'll do about 10 songs. We'll get them out one at a time. And then then we'll drop another vinyl out there when it comes time.
Sure. What is it? You know, I'm going to go back to what you were saying, but I'm going to be the devil's advocate a little bit here, even though I don't necessarily love this. I always say that it's our fault because we didn't raise our kids. Like, I'm 55. I've got 30-year-old boys. They don't know anything about albums. You know, they know nothing about an album. They were raised by me handing them iTunes cards,
Right.
and buying a single year and a you know, I did a bad job personally of teaching my kids that. I think we all did. I think we all were enamored with not having to have a big CD book on the passenger seat to drive with. You know, and we were enamored to have it on our phone with a pair of headphones that just go, or an iPod back in the day.
Gosh, I miss even iPods.
Me too. Me too.
I even miss that.
But the thing that I see most coming though now is because we've raised these kids so dependent on their phones, so dependent on iPads and computers, they're way more, where us old people, we're way more interested in finding out that Bob Clearmountain did that John Bon Jovi record or whatever.
Right.
They're way more interested in throwing on an Oculus set and seeing a pretend set of, yeah, there you go. You know, and
I was going to wear this when we came on, just to be a dork, just to be a total nerd.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I get it.
That's and you see bands are moving. Kiss, ABBA, you know, they're moving, and while they're saying that they're doing it for the stage, my thought is the way this direction is going to go is that a band, we'll just use Kiss as an example. They're going to come up with sets from each era of their existence, a Dynasty set, Animalized set, you know. And they're going to sell that. They're going to sell that as an expansion pack for $65 that people can buy on their Oculus.
Right. Yeah,
It's going to make it even worse for you guys.
Well, I'm diving right in. Actually, we as Shadow and the Thrill, we are going to be doing a simulcast through a couple of different companies. A company called Stage It, which my company's. It's part of my company venue. Stage It is a live performance, ticketed live performance thing.
Right.
And then we're going to do it simulcast with a company out of the UK called Iora, which is a metaverse, which is why I'm studying this whole thing. And we will do that in the metaverse as well. So, yeah, I mean, you can't fight it, so you got to might as well embrace it, you know?
Sure.
It's like it took me a while to get an amp modeler, right? Like for all those musician nerds out there, muso nerds, it took me a while to just go, okay, I'm just going to get it and try it and play with it. And now can't live without it.
Right.
You know, not that I don't like or miss plugging directly into a amp or a Marshall or Soldano or whatever, that's still very, very valid, right? But this is just, it's about convenience sake, and God, it sounds pretty damn good. So, well, you know, you just get a roll with it, man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, too. One of the big reasons you guys do this, and on one of my other shows, my co-host Eric Ferentinos from Stephen Piercy's band, who I'm sure you've run into over the years.
Sure.
But he uses that as well. And he told me point blank, it's because a lot of times the backline is garbage that you guys get brought. But if you've got that modeler, you can sound really, really high end with, you know, if you model it to a 5150 head or whatever, or amp, or, you know, you can capture that sound even through a cheap amp. And that makes you guys look better. You almost have, that's almost like stage clothes now. You have to do that, no?
Well, let's, you know, really what we're talking about at the end of the day is it's about the cost, right? Mm-hmm. Like it really is. A band like mine, normally when we fly out to do shows, first of all, we're flying out to do shows. So we're not dragging a bunch of amps and stuff with us.
Right.
There's always rented gear there. And so there's there are these different echelons, of touring and playing live, and at a certain level, that's the only way really you can do it. Either you're going to play through some rented stuff that is, who knows if it's beat up. Sometimes it's great, man. Sometimes you're like, hey, would you want to sell this? There's been a couple of those times for me too. But yeah, it's about cost, and same thing with the studio. With making albums, and people say, oh, auto tune this and that's really bad. You know what? I've used it, and it's simply because it's a time issue. If I had a month blocked out at the record plant like they used to do back in the day, yeah, I can do a couple takes and go off and have some fun at night, and then come back next day, try it again. That's not the way that it is anymore, at least not for us. So it's about expediency, man. It's about you're trying to be efficient.
You're a content creator. Maybe Eck is right.
I'm a content creator. Damn it. Creating content.
Hey, real quick. First, I want to tell you that my wife just sent me a text saying that you were the hottest guy in Great White. So I'm happy.
That's a pretty low threshold.
It used to be a high bar. Come on.
I'm happy that you're on, so that way maybe my night will be better when my wife gets home.
God bless her. God bless her.
So, I thank God for guys like you, because you're still making good rock music. What do you think about the rock music today? Because I personally think it's kind of lacking. It's just not the same. I mean, you're not going to see bands like what you do ever again, in my opinion. You're not going to see the younger generation coming out with good rock music.
It's funny. Every once in a while when I'm playing out, there will be some young guys like 20s. I just did a show here in LA. Well, not just did it, but just played a club here called the Mint. And, the guys that got on after me, they were some young cats, right? Like 20s. And they got up and they were knocking out some blues oriented rock guitar music, and they were real about it. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, that's awesome. It's still valid, man. So it's just going to take a while. It always comes back around, and we're going to try to be some of the guys that bring it back around, and I love to play for younger folks too, because it does open their eyes a little bit.
Sure. Definitely. Well, dude, let me ask you a question or two about Great White.
Sure.
Back in the 80s, and I've done 5 zillion interviews at this point. I mean, literally, it's probably like 5,000 or 6,000 interviews. I've interviewed everybody. And universally, the hardest partying band was always Great White. Every band says that. Every single band tells me that.
Wow.
Is that true in your eyes? Because you joined it probably at the height of the partying, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that true? And how did that legend come to be, if it is true?
Well, let's face it. A lot of that is riding on Jack's shoulders, right?
Right.
And the truth of it is that I was almost clandestine in what my my activities were in those days. So, I've definitely had a couple nights out with Jack where it was almost lights out, man. So yeah. So yeah, it was pretty hardcore sometimes.
Okay,
but,
what is the groupie situation like now compared to then? There's still buses and vans full of hot chicks from the top up hanging out.
Man,
no,
gosh,
not the same.
No, it's not like it. You know what though? I love when folks come up to us and just they just love to share those memories of those times, because that's when all of us were young and hot and You know, all of us could just let it all hang out back in those days. So, and I love to sit there and reminisce with folks, especially when I go out, you know, when I've been out playing with Jack and doing that whole thing. I'll tell you what, I mean, I also, just for fun here at home, I joined a couple of my buddies to do a Journey tribute band.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, that's a little bit different situation because the age range is, you know, I mean, there's 20s to 60s, 70s.
Right.
It's like the whole range. So that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Those folks are having a good time. And even if they're young, they're bouncing around and dancing and singing the songs, which is cool too. That's really it warms my heart when I see that. I think, yeah, that there's still some hope. They get it. They get the energy of it.
Right on. Well, dude, let me ask you the tough one, because obviously you would know, you know, we all saw the news about Jack, and that's super unfortunate to hear. Have you heard from him since he announced his retirement, and how's he doing?
I've literally had very, very little contact with him since.
Okay.
Yeah, we just chatted for a little bit, and it was more about you know, my old friend Jack, you know.
Right.
So that's kind of what we chatted about, and we always reminisce too. We have a lot of fun stories we like to recount.
Sure.
And reminisce about. Yeah, it's, you know, it's done, and that's a shame. And it is. I think the biggest loss was that, you know, in 2012, before I started working with Jack again, or even considering playing Great White music again, because I've been very removed from that for many years. I thought, you know, it's the 25th anniversary of Twice Shy. I decided that I was ready, and I thought there's some value there for the five of us to play together again. Mark, Lardy, Audie, Jack, and myself. And so I reached out to both parties. I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm ready. If you guys want to get back and hang and you know, heal that rift." And yeah, it's a shame that never happened. And I was continued to be an advocate for it up until just very recently. And it's a shame that those other cats didn't sit up and take notice, because I told them. I was very frank with them. I said, you know what? There's a shelf. There's a you know, there's an expiration date on this, man.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with, you know, money or willingness to do it. And they just didn't want to listen. So
Well, it is unfortunate, and you know, the thing is, and you know, Jack's health aside, and I don't mean to sound like a callous dick here, but I did see that you guys did place a show or two after the announcement, like with somebody else singing. Is there any thought that the band will continue in some other form, or was that just contractual obligations need to honor the commitments thing?
It's a little bit of all of those things, I guess. And I'm not the first guy to jump up and say, hey, you know, by the way, I'm one of the guys from that era, and
Sure.
you know, I should be able to go out and do whatever I want. And the truth is that I am, and I'm going to do whatever I want.
Right.
So yeah, maybe we'll get out there and continue. We're gonna do these shows that we've, you know, kind of renegotiated or whatever. And Andrew Freeman has been a real shot in the arm.
Sure.
He's obviously he's a stellar vocalist, and he's a fun dude. And you know, there's no reason why we shouldn't, I think. So we'll see how it goes. I'm busy, man. Shit. Between this Journey tribute band, which holy moly, just literally blew up and just took over my life. Seems like.
Right.
But I've got my single now and Shadow and the Thrill shows. Actually, I need to announce that we just we're going to be in Decatur, Illinois, on October 11th at the Lincoln Theater. I'm sorry, Lincoln Square Theater.
Okay.
So we'll be out there and start knocking out some dates in the Midwest for Shadow and the Thrill too. So I get to come home a couple days, repack my underwear or not, and get out there and bring the rock to the people, man.
You still love being on the road?
I would really like to be in a more traditional road situation where we're on a bus. Flying doing these flight dates is rough. And I just sit on a plane. I'm hyper spaz anyways, and sitting on a plane for 4 hours it just irks me, man. Right. But it's what we do. And the other thing is dragging instruments along.
Right. And they jerk you around. They jerk you guys around, especially you guitar players, endlessly with the
bass players
baggage.
Is worse. Thank God I'm not playing bass right now.
Right.
Because basses are, they're big. They don't want to let them put in the overhead bins. Besides that, even putting things in the overhead bin or whatever, I'm so fortunate to be associated with PRS. I'm Shadow and Thrill myself, a PRS artist now, and I love my instruments that these guys have made for me, and when I take them on the road, I put them in these, impenetrable flight cases,
right?
And you hand them off to TSA. Wow, man, really? Do they really need to take it out of the case?
Yeah, and play with it and stuff, right? And
right. I don't know what they're doing with them. Yeah, I know that last time I did it, I got a nasty ding down to the wood in the back of one of my instruments, and I just was just furious. It's just like, what the hell, you guys? I mean, I'm not hiding cocaine in there, shit.
Right.
Anymore.
Nice. Well, Tony, I figure we wrap this one up with the new single, Bleeding Out. Why don't you tell us about the single and give the plugs where people can keep up with you and all that stuff?
Sure. We actually wrote the song quite a while back and actually did a live in the studio at PRS Artist Relations here in Los Angeles. Did that live, and so we decided to go in the studio and do it proper. Do a proper studio recording of it, and now you're seeing that. And the video. Well, the video is a little bit of that and a little bit of a show I did in St. Louis recently. But we're very, very happy with that, and it's getting a little traction on radio, and we're getting some video views and stuff. As far as keeping up with us, obviously, please jump out on the Shadow and the Thrill YouTube page and subscribe, and we'll keep putting videos out there, and our Facebook page and Instagram is always, obviously, that's always active. So love to keep track of everybody, and let people know what we're doing.
Excellent. Well, one more time, the band is Shadow and the Thrill. Tony Montana, of course, is leading it, singing in it. He's going to be doing something other than that. You can see him play some Journey if you're out in L.A. You can see him. I'm going to think that we're going to see you all around the country playing some of this stuff, whether it's Shadow and the Thrill or something else. Yes?
As long as I'm breathing, I'm going to go out there and just try to bring it.
Right on.
Thank you.
Well, Tony, this has been a lot of fun, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll wrap now with Bleeding Out. So check it out. It's Shadow and the Thrill right here.
Cheers, brothers.
See you, man.
Seth Williams Show.
My life, I see bleeding out. was already gone. Broke my heart just for you. You don't know what I'm going through. I was already gone. I was already
Get ready to turn up the excitement at your next event with the Perfect Choice Band, the ultimate party starters in Ohio and beyond. Picture this: 2 electrifying vocalists, a powerhouse rhythm section, and a horn ensemble that will blow you away. That's right, the Perfect Choice Band isn't just another cover band. We're here to transport you to the heart of the party with unforgettable renditions of your favorite hits. From classics to chart toppers, we've got your playlist covered. Our mission? To keep you singing and dancing until the stars fade into dawn. So, why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? Call 440-346-5242 or visit us at perfectchoiceband.com to book the ultimate entertainment experience for your special day. The Perfect Choice Band, where every moment is music to your ears. Don't miss out. Book now and let's make memories together.